Hello viewers, hope you're all doing good. Welcome to this video. Right, in this video we will be looking at how we can use Ingress in K3D. So in the previous video we saw how to use K3D to run K3S lightweight Kubernetes distribution in Docker containers. So in this video let's see how we can use Ingress that comes with K3S. So when we deployed K3S, we had the Traefik Ingress already deployed with K3S. So let's take a look. K3D list, I don't have any clusters, so let's create a cluster. K3D create with 2 worker nodes. Okay, that's done, and let's copy this with double quotes. Cool. Okay, kubectl get nodes. We have 1 master node and 2 worker nodes. The containers are being started now. It's in the not ready state. Kubectl version, so it's 1.17.3 kubectl -n kube system get all. Okay, so the containers are getting created. All right, let's wait for a few more seconds. All right, let's check that again. Cool, so everything is running fine. Kubectl get nodes, all of them are in the ready state. Okay, so if I do get all again, so we have the Traefik service, Traefik pod running, that's the Traefik deployment. But the thing to note is there's a dashboard, web UI, where you can see the Traefik resources, routes, and so on. But in K3S, when it's deployed, the dashboard is normally disabled, so you need to enable the dashboard. So the way to enable dashboard is by editing the config map. If you look at the Traefik deployment, it actually uses a config map. If I do kubectl -n kube system describe deploy Traefik, so that's the Traefik deployment. And if you look here under volume section, it's using a config map called Traefik. Okay, so kubectl -n kube system get config map, and there we go. So that's the Traefik config map. That's the configuration that the Traefik deployment uses. So we need to update that config map and enable the dashboard. Okay, so let's edit that. Kubectl -n kube system edit config map Traefik. Okay, so the configuration file is traefik.toml. So we're going to add a couple of lines in this configuration file. Let me turn off the syntax so you can view it better. Okay, so that's better. So anywhere in this file traefik.toml, so basically I'm going to go in here and add a couple of lines. So it's going to be API. For the API section, I'm going to enable dashboard. So dashboard equals true. So that's all needed. Save that file. So we've edited the config map. If I do kubectl -n kube system get all, the Traefik pod is still running. So that's from 3 minutes ago. So it's still the old pod. I'm not sure whether the Traefik pod will get relaunched or restarted because we've updated the underlying config map. But instead of waiting, we can always delete the pod and then let it recreate it so that it uses the updated configuration. Okay, so kubectl -n kube system scale deploy. So I'm scaling the Traefik deployment to 0. Okay, so now if I do get all, so that Traefik pod is getting terminated, and if you look at the deployment, the number of replicas is set to 0. And now again, if I change that to scale it back to 1 and look at the configuration now, Traefik pod container is getting created. So there is this new Traefik pod that's getting launched with which uses the updated configuration from the config map. So now we should be able to access the Traefik dashboard UI, web UI. But how do we access it? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use port forwarding to forward the port in the Traefik deployment, and then we can access it from our local host. Okay, so as this is a new shell, I need to export the K3D kube config. And now if I do kubectl -n kube system, I'm going to do port forward deployment Traefik. The port is 8080. Okay, so we are doing a port forwarding. So whenever I send a request to localhost 8080, it's going to forward to the container port 8080 for the Traefik pod. Okay, let's open up the web browser and go to localhost colon 8080. Cool, so that's a very simple Traefik web UI dashboard. And since we haven't got any ingress or anything, you don't see anything. So there's 0 front end and 0 back end. Let's try and deploy a sample web application. Let's deploy an Nginx application, expose it as a service, and then create an ingress. Okay, so let's create it. kubectl create. Okay, so kubectl create deploy Nginx -- image Nginx. That's going to fail because I've had a typo here. So kubectl delete deploy Nginx. kubectl get all. Okay, let's run it again. kubectl create deploy Nginx -- images Nginx. Okay, so if I do kubectl get all, container is getting created. Okay, so now we need to expose this Nginx application using a service. Because we are going to use Ingress service, I'm going to expose this Nginx application as a normal cluster IP service. Okay, kubectl get all, so Nginx pod is running fine. Now we are going to expose this kubectl expose deploy Nginx. We are exposing the Nginx deployment and we are exposing the port 80. And if I do kubectl get service, so there's this Nginx service which is of type cluster IP and it's exposed. Port 80 is exposed, so it's still within the cluster because it's cluster IP, so we won't have any access outside of the cluster. Okay, so now we're going to create an ingress resource. So if we go to the K3D GitHub repo, there should be an example file which we can use for creating an ingress, or if you want, you can write your own ingress file, but to make our life easier, go into the docs folder, examples.md. So yep, so there's an example ingress configuration here which I'm going to copy and paste it here. Let's edit the file temp nginx ingress.yaml and paste it. Okay, so it's of type ingress. We've got one HTTP rule and the path is /backend. It goes to the service Nginx and the port is 80. Let's save that and create that ingress resource. kubectl get ingress. We don't have any ingress at the moment. kubectl create -f temp nginx ingress.yaml. So we've created the ingress. kubectl get ingress. Yep, so we have one ingress. kubectl describe ingress nginx. Okay, so we have our nginx host is *, path is / and the backend is a service called nginx on port 80. And if you look at here, 10.42.0.6:80, I think that's the IP address of the actual pod, I think. kubectl get ports, kubectl get ports -o void. Yep, 10.42.0.6. So that's the IP address of the actual pod. Okay, cool. So we've created the ingress service and now we should be able to access it. So how do we access it? So you can access it because we haven't specified the host. kubectl describe ingress nginx. We haven't specified any particular host name. So you can basically connect to any of the nodes, whether it can be a master node or any of the worker nodes, and it's on the default port 80. So you should be able to get to the Nginx welcome page. Okay, so kubectl get nodes -o void. So we've got 3 nodes and the IP addresses are this one here. So we can use any of these 3 IP addresses. Okay, let's try that out. 172.27.0.3, just hitting enter. Cool, so that's welcome to Nginx, welcome the Nginx welcome page. So that's working fine. We've deployed our ingress resource and we are accessing it now through the master node. and let's try accessing it through one of the worker node. Actually, sorry, that's not the master node, that's worker 0. Worker 1 is that one. Let's copy that and see if that's working. Yep, you can access it from the other worker node as well. So now let's copy this IP address, paste it. Oh, sorry, 172.17, sorry, 27.0.2. It's not 127, it's 27. Cool. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you. You can access it from any of your worker nodes or any of your, basically any nodes from your Kubernetes cluster. So we have created an Nginx application, we've exposed it as a cluster IP, we then created an Ingress resource, and now we are able to access it from any of these nodes. Okay, so now if I go back to the Traefik dashboard, you can see a couple of entries here. One is for the front end, path is / and we've got the backend here. Details. So that's just a simple Traefik dashboard web UI. Okay, cool. So I hope you found this video useful. Please share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you've got any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to help, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye bye.